Good morning, sports bettors. It is Matt Modi here with OddsJam. You guys probably know the drill at this point, but let's bet some NBA player props. So last night we had a huge slate of NBA games. I think today we have 3 to 5. I can't remember the exact amount of games going on today, so not as big of a slate. Doesn't matter, still have some profitable plays to bet. So let's get into it. Of course, these are going to be NBA player prop best bets for Thursday, January 5th. So all of the plays I find using OddsJam, using the positive expected value page. One thing that I do want to preface is that not every single bet that you place is going to hit. You're not going to profit every single day. If you look at my history using OddsJam, and I'll just talk about this briefly, been using OddsJam for almost a year and a half at this point, and it's mostly been going incredibly well. I mean, as you can see, total profit above 20K since I've been using OddsJam. You see recently, look at my profit over time. A ton of up weeks recently with only one slightly down week, down $83. Really not that bad. But what you do see in this profit over time graph is some down weeks. Some down weeks that are down by sometimes a lot, 1,600, 1,600, 1,400, 1,400. And we also see that I was down 5 weeks in a 6-week span. That sucked. That was not fun. So you're not going to win every single bet or profit every single day, week, month. But over time, you will be profitable. And since I've been using OddsJam, like I said, I started using it at the beginning of football season last year. So the 2021 season, I've only had 3 down months with a couple months up a lot, like 2,700, $3,000. 2,900, and then December it was up 1,500. January is going really well so far. So I definitely want to just preface that at the beginning. That variance is a very unfortunate and frustrating reality of sports betting, but if you're placing profitable bets consistently, it will work out in your favor over time. You just kind of have to get through rough stretches when they happen. So to the bets. The first play that we're going to lock in here, Jamal Murray under 5.5 assists. This is a plus money play, plus 112 at Bet Rivers. Of course, we know this is the play because it's bolded and it's got the blue rectangle around it. Obviously, in the Clippers versus Nuggets game. Pretty good game that we have going on tonight. Nuggets, I think, are the 1 seed in the Western Conference. Clippers, after finally missing their team for pretty much the entire year, of coming on hot a little bit as of late. Kawhi's looking good. Going to be a pretty good game. But in this case, we're fading Jamal Murray. So the reason why I like this play, aside from the fact that it shows up on the positive EV page, is the no vig odds in this column that you see here. So these odds are pulled from the sharpest sportsbooks in the world. So what we see on the screen here is odds pulled up from a bunch of different sportsbooks. And we see odds range from, looks like -105 to +112 to -117, a wide range. With ranges that wide, one of those sports books has to be incorrect in this specific case, right? It doesn't make sense that something is priced at -117 and +112 for the same exact bet and have them both be correct. So over the course of time, what this means is that there are some sports books that are consistently better at others at pricing odds. It's as simple as that. Some sports books are sharper than others. And what OddsJam did, and why the positive EV page is such a powerful tool, is they back-tested thousands and thousands of betting opportunities over a long period of time to determine what sportsbooks are the sharpest, and then use them to set the market moving forward. Basically saying, hey, over X amount of time, these X amount of sportsbooks were consistently the best at pricing odds. So we're going to use them to set the market moving forward and identify profitable betting opportunities that is an outlier to these sharp sportsbooks, which is exactly what we have here. So again, Jamal Murray under 5.5 assists. We're getting it at +112. The OddsJam perfect line pulled from the sharpest sportsbooks in the world. The true line of this should be priced at about +108. So that 4-cent gap is where your profitability comes from. And then what you want to do, because any play that shows up here on the positive EV page is going to be a mathematically profitable play. The next thing you want to do is you want to confirm the odds of the bet you are placing to the rest of the markets, right? I kind of showed you that there's a gap between just the sports books in general, but what you want to do is you want to narrow in on the bet that you are placing, which in this case, Jamal Murray under 5.5 assists. So right here, under 5.5 assists, +112 odds. You want to compare these odds to the odds of the rest of the markets from every other sports book. So that's why it's important to look at every sports book before you place a bet. And that's why OddsJam just has it on one screen. So you don't need to go to each sports book. But the more data you have, the more information you have at your hand, the more educated the bet you are placing, the more educated you are with the bet you are placing. So let's look at this one. Plus 112 at Bet Rivers. No other book has this for plus money. The closest one is FanDuel at plus 102, and that's still 14 cents lower than the Bet Rivers line. We see odds all the way up to minus 117, as I mentioned, and then the sharp book in this case is Bet Online, and they have it priced at minus 106. So that's like 18 cents lower than the Bet Rivers line. DraftKings does a decent job specifically with player props, prices it at minus 110. That is 22 cents lower than the Bet Rivers line. So long story short, this is an outlier. This Jamal Murray under 5.5 assists is an outlier, which is why I like it so much as a play, which is why I recommend betting it. For player props, I do a flat rate of 3/4 of a unit on pretty much every single player prop. That's kind of how I've managed my bankroll. So for this one, that's $75 for me. That's what I put on it. So for those of you at home, I recommend putting 70 or 3/4 of a unit as well, whatever a unit size is for you. Play number 2, Jason Tatum over 30.5 points. Celtics have kind of been struggling recently. Tatum's been incredible. I think he's top 3 last I checked in MVP voting. We're betting on him to go over 30.5 points. So this is at minus 114 at Bet Rivers. And the OddsJam perfect line prices this at minus 118. So there's about a 4-cent gap between the sharpest sports books in the world on average and Bet Rivers, giving us a profit margin, which is what this percent here is telling us, a profit margin of 1.61%. And then let's look at the other sports books that price it. So you can ignore Monkey Knife Fight and Prize Picks because they're DFS companies. They have the same odds for every single play. They don't have different odds, so you can ignore them. But Pinnacle, which is the sharpest sports book in the world. So I mentioned Bet Online as a sharp sports book. Pinnacle is also a sharp sports book that's given the heaviest weight. Now, obviously, it's not the end-all be-all. You still want to compare the rest of the markets, but if you're placing a bet that's an outlier to Pinnacle and Bet Online, that's a really good sign. And in this case, DraftKings has it at minus 140 as well. And then the Caesars has it 9 cents higher, closer to the Bet Rivers line. But I'll still trust DraftKings and Pinnacle in terms of what they are pricing this play at. So this is play number 2. Jason Tatum over 30.5 points. That's obviously in the Mavericks versus Celtics game. Going to be another really good game. Mavericks have been hot recently. Celtics have been scuffling. But Celtics are still probably the best team in the NBA. So always a chance to win even when they're struggling. Next up, same game, Celtics versus Mavericks. We are betting on Spencer Dinwiddie to go over 4.5 assists. This is at plus 128 odds, again at Bet Rivers. And I will say, Bet Rivers has the same odds provider as Barstool, Unibet, TwinSpires, and I think Sugar House. So if you don't have Bet Rivers, but you have one of those other sports books, then you can still place this bet. All of these bets actually have been on Bet Rivers. You can place these bets on those sports books. So this play, again, plus 128 at Bet Rivers. The perfect line has this pretty much at about plus 124.5, so about 3.5 cents lower than what we are getting it at Bet Rivers, giving us a profit margin, an expected value, an EV percent of 1.55%. And then again, compare the Bet Rivers line to the rest of the sports books. Again, a clear outlier. There's not a single sports book that is closer to the Bet Rivers line across the board. Pinnacle, plus 113. Bet Online, plus 112. DraftKings, plus 115. Two of the sharpest ones, Pinnacle and Bet Online, check. DraftKings, kind of a tertiary sharp one, check. The rest of the markets, plus 115, plus 100, plus 106, plus 100, plus 110. Checks across the board. Really good play here. Spencer Dinwiddie over 5.5 assists. So next up, we are back in the Clippers versus Nuggets game, and we are taking another Jamal Murray prop. In this case, we're taking him to go under 1.5 made 3-pointers. This is at plus 108 plus 128 odds. Again at Bet Rivers. Not sure what Bet Rivers is doing this morning, but they clearly have mispriced odds. OddsJam perfect line pricing this at plus 125. So this one, there are two sports books that are a little bit closer to the Bet Rivers line. That would be FanDuel and that would be PointsBet. But then that's 3 books total that has it in the plus 120s. Look at every other book, right? If you look across the market, Bet Online plus 109, DraftKings plus 105. The rest, so that's two of the one really sharp one, two kind of again the DraftKings tertiary sharp one have it pretty much at the same, close to each other, I should say. The rest of the sports books plus 105, plus 105, plus 101, plus 105. Still a clear outlier. This this plus 128 one is, and then also another reason why I like it. So Bet Rivers is a plus EV play at plus 128. No other sports book, neither the ones that are closer, FanDuel or PointsBet, would be positive EV in this case. So it's still an outlier in terms of it's the only sports book that's giving you a positive expected value play here. Jamal Murray under 1.5 made threes, and then I have one more that I will just rapid fire here because I know I'm going a little bit long. Spencer Dinwiddie over 2.5 made threes, another play at Bet Rivers, plus 123 odds in the Celtics versus Mavericks game. OddsJam perfect line, pricing this at about just below plus 121. Clear outlier among the rest of the sports books. Clear outlier. Plus 123 at Bet Rivers. Closest book is plus 110. Sharp ones have it at plus 107. So that is my 5th and final NBA player prop for today. So if you're tailing these 5 picks, comment and let me know. Other than that, I would appreciate it if you could like the video, subscribe to the OddsJam YouTube channel. That helps me out a ton. If you want to find me, myself, I'm on social media, Twitter at Jedi Modi. Shout out to Star Wars, JEDI MODI, Jedi Modi. And then you can also hit me up on Picket, where I post a lot of plays, OddsJam_Matt. But for this video, that is all I got for you. So I appreciate everybody watching and have a good one.